The British pound continues its slide lower. You go back to March, you look at the charts, you see it's just been a slippery slope all the way down to 120, and today we did get very close to that 120 mark, and we bounced higher off some headline news. It wasn't earth-shattering, but they're talking about maybe kicking that October 31st deadline down the road for Brexit, and that tends to bring out some short covering more than it does any sort of positive mojo. So yes, we ended the session off that 120 mark, but certainly we got as close to it as we have. You go back to March of 18, or before that, November of 16, those are the times we've touched that, and it just seems that is a level that right now seems very critical to the to where the pound will go post-Brexit or no Brexit. At this point, and I think that from a technical standpoint, it remains very bearish. Certainly, a lot of shorts will look to get out on the actual news come October or whenever it is. But at this point, it seems to me that the pound will continue to find sellers, continue to find lower prices, at least until there can be some resolution. Right now, that doesn't seem to be anywhere on the radar. If you look at the Bank of England, they're in a very similar situation. They're handcuffed by the fact that there is no resolution coming. And if you look on the calendar, in September we have a meeting, comes right on the heels of the Fed's next September FOMC meeting. And it will be interesting because the Fed is expected to cut 25 with about a 60 to 70% odds of a 50. So the 50 is not fully priced for the Fed here. But it will be very interesting to see how the Bank of England reacts to that, how the Fed views the world, whether they're cutting rates more aggressively because of Brexit, whether it's because of trade, whether it's because of global growth, all things that will affect policy in England as well, by the way. And I think at this point they may probably continue to look at this and with the hands off and watch and wait as we get to that October 31st deadline. That obviously is going to be the big what if moment for the Bank of England and anyone really in that area between the UK and the Eurozone. And that date will certainly be on everyone's calendar. And the Bank of England right now just needs to wait and see. They can't really make any aggressive policy moves, whether it be cutting, whether it be tightening. Obviously, be more apt to cut at this point, but. Right now, the pound telling you lower levels are coming, and the Bank of England can't do anything really to stop it at this point. And lastly, let's look at another chart, the pound-euro cross. Right now, hitting decade lows, and another example of what a no Brexit might look like, another example of the uncertainty, yet another example of the possibilities. And at this point, when you look at a chart that has hitting a decade low level, you have to ask yourself what's going to turn this around. What is going to get the pound to go higher against not only the dollar but maybe against the euro? And at this point, it's all come down to Brexit. And if they do extend that October 31st deadline, it only just prolongs the agony, I think, at this point. So. Why don't we get through this thing? We went back to March 29th, that didn't work. Then there was a June blurry date that didn't work, and now we're in October 31st. And I think at this point, we need to get moving forward, whether it's with or without a Brexit deal. If you look at some of the UK officials, they're already trying to make side deals with the US. That would be very positive. That could also help at least firm up the pound, but ultimately they have to get this deal together with the Eurozone. Whether they get that done or not by October 31st right now is anyone's guess. And if you watch the pound, it'll give you at least a clear idea of how close they are. Right now, they're not very close. So look for the pound to continue lower as we move forward, despite any changes in local economic data, what we see from the Fed, whatnot. I think it all comes down to Brexit on October 31st. We have a lot of time between now and then, but certainly could find some resolution sooner than later. That would be beneficial to everyone.